Our civilization runs on oil. It's the cheapest, most energy-dense and portable fuel we've ever found. Nature took tens of millions of years to make petroleum, and we've used up the best of it in less than 200. A little over a decade ago, eminent petroleum geologist calculated that global oil production would soon hit a peak and begin to decline, no longer meeting ever-rising demand. But oil industry spokesman countered with the message, "Don't worry, there's plenty of oil," and assured us that everything would be just fine. So what actually happened? The world crude oil production flatlined in 2005. Oil prices went crazy. Wars erupted in the oil-rich parts of the world, and the global economy went into a tailspin. The term peak oil entered the lexicon. The oil industry is now staging another PR counteroffensive. They're telling us that applying new technologies like hydrofracking to low parity rocks makes a lot of lower quality unconventional oil available. They argue that we just need to drill more to produce more. Problem solved. But wait, what actually is new here? Most of this technology has been around since the 1980s. What's new is high oil prices. It's high oil prices that make unconventional oil worth producing in the first place. It takes a lot of oil, money, and energy, not to mention water, to frack low prosperity rocks. And the environmental risks are staggering. How does the economy handle high oil prices? Well, it turns out the economy hates high oil prices, and responding by going into recession, which makes the energy prices volatile, rendering the industry subject to booms and busts. So what's the bottom line here? Yes, there's still oil in the ground. We just can't afford it. In broad terms, the peak oil analysts were right. The fossil fuel industry is winning the PR battle. What really matters, though, is not who wins the debate, but how we prepare for the inevitable. We've got to warn ourselves off high. Alternative energy refers to energy sources that have no undesired consequences, like fossil fuels or nuclear energy do. Alternative energy sources are renewable and thought to be free energy sources. They all have lower carbon emissions compared to conventional energy sources. These include biomass energy, wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, hydroelectric energy sources. Combined with the use of recycling, the use of clean alternative energies, such as the home use of solar power systems, will help ensure man's survival into the 21st century and beyond. Potential. The main goal of alternative energy research is to provide a low-cost source of energy that does not rely on unsustainable resources, such as coal or oil. By making use of resources that cannot be depleted, like sunlight, alternative energy provides a way to meet the needs of a growing civilization without the negative environmental impact of a non-renewable resource. What you can do. There is no need to wait for the government or power company to make up their mind about alternative energy before making the switch. One advantage of alternative energy sources is that most consumers have access to one or more of them and can make use of them at a single home scale. Startup costs for retrofitting a home to use alternative energy are still high, but provide an opportunity to gain independence from local utility companies. Geography. The best type of alternative energy to use in an area depends largely on the geography of that area. Desert lands, for instance, receive more than enough sunlight to make use of solar energy, but might have a hard time implementing a hydro energy source. Scientists continue to work on several sources of renewable energy as a result of this fact, which will lead to better energy. Today, people are realizing that wind power is one of the most promising new energy sources that can serve as an alternative to fossil fuel generated electricity. The cost of wind has dropped 15% with each doubling of installed capacity worldwide, and capacity has doubled 3 times during the 1990s and 2000s. As of 1999, global wind energy capacity has topped 10,000 megawatts, which is approximately 16 billion kilowatt hours of electricity. That's enough to serve over 5 cities the size of Miami, according to the American Wind Energy Association. 5 Miamis may not seem significant, but if we make the predicted strides in the near future, wind power could be one of our main sources of electricity. Solar power. From an environmental perspective, solar power is the best thing going. A 1.5 kilowatt system will be able to keep more than 110,000 pounds of carbon dioxide, the major greenhouse gas, out of the atmosphere over the next 25 years. The same solar system will also prevent the need to burn 60,000 pounds of coal. With solar, there is no acid rain, no urban smog, no pollution of any kind. Mankind has been crazy to not have bothered to harness the sun's energy until now. Think about this. Go outside on a sunny day. The light falling on your face left the sun just 8 minutes ago. In that 8 minutes, it has traveled 93 million miles. Those photons are hauling, and when they strike your PV model, they can convert that motion into electricity. As a technology, photovoltaics are not as glitzy as that new sports utility vehicle that the television tells us to crave. But in many ways, PV is a much more elegant and sophisticated technology. Be for your business or for your home, why not invest in solar panels? Today's solar panels are bomb-proof and often come with a 25-year warranty or more. Your solar panels may outlive you. They are also modular, so you can start with a small system and expand it over time. Solar panels are also light, weighing about 20 pounds, so if you move, you can take the entire system with you. How does a hydropower facility work? A hydropower facility consists of a water reservoir enclosed by a dam whose gates can open or close, depending on how much water is needed to produce a particular amount of electricity. Once electricity is produced, it is transported along huge transmission lines to an electric utility company. Today, 1/5 of global electricity is generated by falling water. In the United States, there are over 75,000 dams. Less than 3% are used to produce electricity, but these 3% create 10 to 12% of the nation's electricity, with over 2,000 facilities creating electricity. We are the second largest producer of hydropower worldwide, behind Canada. Hydropower is very convenient because it can respond quickly to fluctuations in demand. A dam's gates can be opened or closed on command, depending on daily use or gradual economic growth in the community. The production of hydroelectricity is often slowed in the nighttime when people use less energy. When a facility is functioning, no water is wasted or released into an altered state. It simply returns unharmed to continue the hydrologic cycle. The reservoir of water resulting from dam construction, which is essentially stored energy, can support fisheries and preserves, and provide various forms of water-based recreation for locals and tourists. Land owned by the hydroelectric company is often open to public for hiking, hunting, and skiing. Therefore, hydropower reservoirs contribute to local economies. A study of one medium-sized hydropower project in Wisconsin showed that the recreational value to residents and visitors exceeded $6.5 million annually, not to mention the economic stimulation provided by the employment at the hydroelectric plant. Hydroelectric power is also very efficient and inexpensive. Modern hydro turbines can convert as much as 90% of the available energy into electricity. The best fossil fuel plants are only about 50% efficient. In the US, hydropower is produced on an average of 0.7 cents per kilowatt hour. This is about 1/3 the cost of using fossil fuel or nuclear, and 1/6 the cost of using natural gas, as long as the cost for removing the dam and the silt traps is not included. Efficiency could be further increased by refurbishing hydroelectric equipment. An improvement of only 1% would supply the electricity to an additional 300,000 households. We must stop using fossil fuels and instead switch to an alternative energy source. Switching will allow us to live with clean energy for many years into the future, no longer dependent on non-renewable fossil fuels.